And we are back with another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today we welcome to the show reggae musician and former cricketer, Mr. Omari Banks. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, man. Taking it easy. How you doing?
I'm doing good too, man. I just got back from a conference in DC. I'm chilling, just smoking it up, enjoying the day. It was a little chilly last week here in the States. It was unusually cool for August. I mean, it was like I don't know, 20 degrees Celsius or whatnot, and that for a high in some of these places, and usually it's a lot more than that. So I'm just glad to
I,
get back to normal weather, man.
I know. I was thinking the same thing because I'm here in Virginia right now, and I was here last year, and I think I remembered it was a lot warmer. But it's actually today is kind of brightened up and sunny. But last night I was in a t-shirt, and I was saying one month into it, I thought we were almost like we're in September, October already. But it's good now. It's better today.
Okay, yeah, where in Virginia are you calling in from today? Where are you in Richmond? Whereabouts?
No, I'm in Virginia Beach. I'm actually doing a rehearsal today and then a show tomorrow.
Okay,
At the Cavalier Hotel lawn. So that should
okay,
be cool.
Virginia Beach. I like. It's been a minute since Virginia Beach. I've been down there years ago. It's a nice area. Norfolk's right, kind of by there, and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. The whole East Coast is pretty nice, man. I mean, they got some good beaches there, solid beaches. I mean, you go from all the way up to like Delaware, all the way down to Florida. The whole East Coast got beaches. Well, you're a beach expert, so this is
I
like
was
trying.
just I was
This
just
is
gonna tell you.
right. It's like trying to tell the Pope the Catholic wafers are too crispy. You talking to the, you know. So so let's get into some of this stuff, man. You were. It says you were born in. Forgive me if I pronounce it. Antigua, right?
Anguilla.
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 Okay, perfect. So you were born in Anguilla, and I looked on the map, and Anguilla is like right next to the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And
Yeah,
the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, is one of my favorite spots. I've been there like 3-4 times. Now, what
mhm.
is it about that island life that's just so laid back? It just makes things feel right. Like, what is the essence of it to begin with?
But first, Anguilla is a British overseas territory, so we are a part of the British West Indies. And I think growing up on an island, which is 35 square miles, 60 miles long, and 3 miles wide, you kind of adapt a mentality. I mean, you see everything around you. You see a lot of nature. You see a lot of water. You see that if you want something, you have to go for it. You know what I mean? If you want to fish in the water, you can go and catch it. If you sit back, you may not get any fish to eat. But yeah, you raised with a mentality that life is for living and life is for enjoying, but as well as life is for going out there and getting what you want out of it. So I think growing up on an island, there's a lot of peace, there's a lot of nature that's around, and I think the island spirit is to operate like nature, to exist, to be part of, and just to become.
Yeah. Now, when you were as a kid, did you guys travel around to different spots with your dad, or did you spend most of your time on Anguilla? What was going on there?
So yeah, I mean, my I should say my upbringing is kind of unique in the sense that I mean, being involved in sports, I was traveling from very early, but also my dad was an artist who spent a bit of time in Europe as well as the US. So every now and again, with my mother and my brother, and when I got a little bit older, my younger sister, we would travel to see him perform when I was very young. And then he moved back to Anguilla when I was about maybe 12, 13 years old. But even around that time, from the age of 11, 12, 13 years old, I would spend a lot of time traveling in my time in sport because I took it very seriously from an early age. So I was playing with grown up boys from the age of like 10, 11 years old. So I traveled to different islands from the age of 14, 15, spent a lot of time in cricket academies in the UK.
Okay.
And of course, I turned professional in cricket at the age of 18 and international at 20. So for my whole life, I've always been um, around the world through my cricketing exploits, etc. And no stranger to music as well, because of course my dad, Banky, and just growing up on an island where music is a big part of everything that we do.
Now, with the cricket, this is kind of fascinating to me. Forgive me all my ridiculous cricket questions, because dude, I'm in the States, and the only
That's all right.
experience we got to cricket is like the movies, and you're talking like King Ralph and maybe Slumdog Millionaire. That's the only. So I have no knowledge about cricket whatsoever. So you got to bear with me on some of this stuff. But like it's been, I mean, and I've never been to Anguilla. I've only been to the U.S. Virgin Islands. But like we just said, space is a premium. And I didn't see like when I was in Virgin, I didn't see any basketball courts or any. And there was nothing of that sort because every place was a house or just nature. How did
Right.
you get into that on such a small place? Was that part of the travel you got into there? How did that start out?
No, so cricket, I mean, especially remember, cricket is an old colonial game, and that's what you kind of alluded to without even saying it. Um, in your knowledge of the game. But I mean, so when you grow up in the Caribbean, majority of the islands are English speaking islands or colonies of the UK. So British sport is the only sport actually that brings the Caribbean together as one country.
Okay.
The history of cricket in the Caribbean is very strong, where the Caribbean team, which is called the West Indies team, was the best team in the world for almost over 20 years, from the late 70s, mid to late 70s to the late 80s. So growing up in the Caribbean, that was part of kind of the liberation movement for Caribbean and Black people in the Caribbean. So cricket's kind of bonded us together.
Okay.
So growing up in the Caribbean as a young boy, the dream, like every kid wants to play for the West Indies team. Every kid wants to be a part of that tradition of what it means to be, what I mean, a national hero coming from the Caribbean. And I was no different to that. I grew up as well to idolize American sports. My brothers and my mother spent quite a bit of time in the UK. So I actually started playing baseball
Okay.
before I got into cricket. But I mean, this is like maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And then when I got into cricket, I mean, that's all I wanted to do. So yeah, so I mean, just growing up in Angola, observing the culture of Angola and the culture of the Caribbean, and wanting to be a part of that, and wanting to contribute to that, wanting to having the goal from 8, 9 years old to want to be the first Angolan to play international cricket. That was a dream, and yeah, I'm blessed to be able to say that I accomplished that 2003.
Okay, so when it would like, is there a recruiting process? Because like in the states, like if you're good at say football or basketball, or they'll follow you around and then they'll give you
Yeah,
a scholarship to. Is it kind of like that with cricket? I mean, how you're just playing like local and then
yeah.
you get no more?
So
How did that? At what point did
so
you realize like I could do this for a living?
Absolutely. So the process, I mean, coming from Angola, Angola is such a small, the Caribbean is small, and Angola is small within the smallest small of the Caribbean. So literally the population of Angola is about maybe 12, 13,000. So for me as an 8-year-old to dream to play for the West Indies team, which nobody had ever done before, was a mammoth dream to dream in the first place. And but the process was, one, you play for your primary school team, and if you're good enough, then you play for your um your your local community team, and then if you're
Mhm.
good enough, you play for the national under 13s or under 15s team, and then the under 19s team, and then the national team. And then after you play for the national team, you play against the other smaller countries in our sub-region, which is called the Leeward Islands.
Okay.
And then the best of those form a team that's called the Leeward Islands team. And then if you're good at that, and then you play against the other bigger countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, the Windward Islands, just all of the bigger islands who take part in cricket. And then if you're good enough, there's a selection process. Then you get picked for the West Indies team. So in that structure carries on throughout the under 15 level, the under 19s level, and then the under 19s level. So
Okay, so
it's a
the West
very
Indies
it's
team is like that's the like the national
that's
team, right? And then is there like
that's
is there like a club level, like the Premier League kind of thing, or what's the?
right, right. The club level would be considered Leeward Islands team. So I played for Leeward Islands team from the age of 18, and that'll be considered professional. So I did
Okay,
that from 18. But even before that, I played professionally in England for a team called Leicestershire when I was 17. Uh, a scout, coach from that team saw me from the age of 15 years old, invited me to come over to England and train in their academies from 15 years old. And after my third season, he thought that he should give me a shot at playing over for his team at 17.
okay,
Then I came back to the Caribbean. Of course, I played for the West Indies under 19s, which is like the Little League Caribbean team. And then I went on to play for my professional sub-regional team, which is called the Leeward Islands team. Played 3 seasons, and at the age of 20, I played what became the first Angolan to represent the West Indies team, yeah, which I'm really proud of.
okay. Now, what did you enjoy, the national team or the club play more? Like, what was more? I mean, it sounds like you're more proud of the West Indies making that
Well,
squad.
I would be a little bit. I mean, I was proud to play cricket in general, and I'm proud to play for the Leeward Islands team. But the West Indies team is the highest level, so actually, that's what you aspire to do. I mean, every kid wants to play at the highest level. And I was blessed enough not only just to play, like in my first season, I was one of three nominees for World Young Cricketer of the Year, and that's out of all the international teams. So when you play for the West Indies team, you'll play against England, Australia, Pakistan, New Zealand, and all the like. So that would be definitely my proudest moment representing the West Indies team and being part of a actually something that's really special where we actually chased down the highest total in the history of cricket. And that was in 2003 when I was part of that West Indies team that created that history. So I had some great times in cricket, but yeah, it's always a joy doing anything on an international level for your region, and not only just doing it for yourself, but being able to contribute to the
Now,
history and of the region.
I got a question from Dave. He says, ask Omari if he knows English cricketer called Richard Blakely. He played for Yorkshire.
The name sounds familiar, Richard Blakey. Name sounds very familiar. Not sure, but my mentor at Leicestershire, Jack Birkinshaw, he played for Yorkshire as well. But yeah, but I heard the name Richard Blakey, but I don't want to say I know him off the top of my head.
Okay. What is test cricket? I I read that. You did that. I have no clue what that is. Explain to me that.
So test cricket is what you play only when you're playing international cricket. So test cricket is a match that goes on for 5 days. At a professional level, it's called first class cricket, and that goes on for 4 days. So you would only play for first class cricket when you're playing professionally, but when you reach at the international level between England, Australia, the West Indies, New Zealand, Pakistan, the top of the top, you play Test cricket, and that's what everybody, all the young kids of my generation aspire to play.
Okay.
Test cricket, there's a lot, yeah.
Okay. Now you're tall like me. We're both well over 6 feet. Now, does this
Mm.
help
Mhm.
in playing cricket? I mean, is cricket like basketball? Is like your height is better for the sport, or is it just you just were good just regardless of your height?
It has, but it's not definitely not like basketball where your height will help you to make it easier for you to put the ball in the basket. But there are some advantages in the sense of that when you're bowling, because I was an all rounder, so I was able to bowl.
Okay.
And bowl is like pitching, and basically, if you release the ball from a higher trajectory, the ball will bounce a little bit higher because you bounce the ball before the batter hits the ball. The batsman or batter hits the ball. So in cricket, when the bounce is a bit steeper, sometimes it's a little bit harder to negotiate when you're batting. So it's a help in that way, but it's not like a huge advantage. But it would be a help sometimes to be able to bounce the ball and get it to turn a little bit extra for the batsman, would sometimes make them a little bit uneasy. So there is some there is some benefit to that. But in cricket, it's more like the accuracy of how you're able to pitch the ball within a particular zone to make sure that the batter is guessing and those kind of things.
Okay. What caused you to give up the cricket? Were you just done with it? You want to move on? Your body couldn't take it? Why did you retire?
I mean, over the course of a career, you go through different ups and downs, and I was no different. I had some great moments, had some moments where I reflect back at where I had some disappointing times as well. But all in all, I mean, I was blessed to be able to play for 12 years professionally. Started playing at 18, retired at about 29, 30. So that's 11, 12 years in the sport. And yeah, I just got to a point where I felt like it was time for me to move on. I mean, music was all something that was always around me. And it's interesting that you mentioned the phrase "move on" because that happened to be the title track of my first album. And I would actually be, yeah, I was always known for the cricketer who would carry his guitar on tour. So music was always a part of even the process of preparing myself for cricket. And I just got to a point where, I mean, in cricket, there's a certain hierarchy in a certain way how it goes about in sports. And when you're a young kid and when you're growing up, you understand that and you go with the flow. But as you age and as you get older, when you want to say certain things and when you want to operate in your freedom, in your own mind, I mean, certain things you just have to step out and do. And the construct of cricket is sometimes not always open to that, or just sports in general, I should say. And I was ready to move on. I had enough experiences, I had enough great memories that I made in cricket, and I felt that I had accomplished what I needed to. And like anything else in sport, we can't do it forever.
Now,
We
were you playing music while you were on tour casually? How did you transition into the music? And what was it? Your obvious, because your dad probably did that kind of music. What made you chose the reggae? Was it always going to be reggae if you was going to go into music? What was up with that?
Yes, so for me, I mean, I didn't know what. I know I just love me. I love music. I always travel with my guitar, and I always did that as more of a hobby. I always practiced my guitar and wanted to get better and listen to different music to inspire me. But the reggae side of it, I mean, even though my vibe of reggae is a fusion, I should say, I mean, because I was inspired by so many different genres. So when I finished cricket and I said I wanted to go into music, it was just to do music. It wasn't just okay, I want to be a reggae artist. Because even right now, to me, music is music. Reggae music, I believe, is a vehicle where we're kind of right now, kind of broadly, what should I say, covers, or what should I say, broadly describes what I do. But I think I'm involved and I'm inspired by so many other genres of music, maybe blues, rock, jazz, funk. But reggae music is a vehicle, I believe, that us as Caribbean people use to get our message across. And it's traditionally known to be conscious and a music that is uplifting and positive. And I identify with all those things. So I choose to use reggae music as the vehicle of getting that message forward and getting that message out. Growing up in an environment where my dad has always been that kind of artist where it's all about the musicality, it's always about the message that you're putting over. Um, I think it was fitting to kind of one sum up my music in that. And just because of the sheer fact that I was exposed to so many amazing reggae artists who were passing through Anguilla because they were performing at my dad's festival, which is actually the longest privately owned music festival in the Caribbean.
Nice.
I was blessed to be able to have that environment to thrive on from just the experiences from watching and looking on. So reggae music is something which I hold dear to my heart. But as I said before, I've been inspired by so many different genres and musicians from other different um, styles of music. And I just believe, but reggae music is kind of the foundation and best describes, um, I would say, about 60% of what I do.
Now, what were some early names that people that may not remember? Because you talk about everybody passing through your day's music festival. That was a cool fact, though, at the longest privately owned music festival. That's awesome. But
Mhm.
I mean, because like the second you say reggae, obviously people think about Marley stuff like that. Great artist, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, what was some that really influenced you? Maybe even home guys, maybe even your dad. Just lesser known, quote unquote, lesser known artists too. Americans and stuff that really got you going, influenced you. What you did, how you went about it, and all that.
Okay, so me, I'll just in a nutshell, you'll get it immediately. But Moon Splash, we've had from the likes of John Mayer has been on the stage. He's done like impromptu performance there. Jimmy Buffett has performed there. We've got from everybody from Buju Banton to Sean Paul to Romain Verger to Bunny Wailer to Toots and the Maytals to I mean I mean you call a name and Anthony B. Every name in reggae music, Freddie McGregor, Third World, um, Gregory Isaac, Steel Pulse, every name that you can think of in reggae music has performed at Moonsplash. And just, I mean, I've been blessed, as I said before, to be in that environment, to see what it takes, one, to even to put on an event of this nature. And my dad is kind of a unique guy where, I mean, the artist, when you come to Moonsplash, it's not that you come there and you do a performance and that's it. You get the energy and you get the vibe of the place, of the music. And there's something that's called like a musician jam. And I've been inspired by a lot of by those musician jam, having people like Cat Corb, Third World, who's one of my biggest inspirations in music, Junior Jazz, who's played at my dad, Benji Myers, um, um, Norris Webb, of Third World, Tony Ruption. It, um, I mean, everybody who's been in and around reggae music, who's visited the island, they always want to come back and there's a section of the show which is there's a Sunday jam session where musicians get up after the 2 or 3 days of the festival and just jam and play music, and that has been my environment. So I grew up, and when I see other musicians, it's always a kind of social environment where we're sharing and helping each other and vibing off each other and just holding the vibe. And that's basically how I approach my music, where I'm always about, I mean, sharing and with other musicians and looking to vibe and create stuff. And that's what being in an environment where you see so much other amazing musicians, when you're around that environment, it kind of helps you to understand that music is more than just, I mean, just putting something on paper and just saying you're trying to market it. It's more about how it connects to yourself and how it connects to everybody else around you and how you can impact other people's lives in doing so.
That's a great comparison, man. I love that fostering environment because I try to do that on YouTube a little bit. Like, there's no competition. This isn't the Olympics. This isn't the Super Bowl. This isn't the Premier League Cup, whatever the fuck it's called. This is just about having fun, chilling, and uplifting people. And a good comparison to what you were just talking about with that reggae. I always think of skateboarding. I was never a skateboarder, but every time I watch skateboarders, they're always like, "Oh yeah, do it," and then they just very supportive. There's never any downtrodden stuff. I think a lot of that's weed. A lot of that's island culture just in general. But that essence though, just sitting there. I mean, because you could just sit there and listen to a reggae line and then just sing lyrics, and after a while, 2-3 minutes, you could just start counting. It doesn't matter because the music just penetrates what you're listening to. That dun, 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 or whatever what I'm talking about. That really infects you, man. It's so great. That's why I really liked having you up on this interview because like I was listening to a couple of your songs before we got up, and I had the one with the no point to prove, and I was just like, it felt like I've heard this song 100 times. It was my first time listening to it, and it was great. And I got to ask you about this video for this song that was in Jamaica, right? Was it in Jamaica? Okay.
It was in Jamaica, and you see, I mean, there's so many amazing people and amazing artists. I even forgot to mention that song. I mean, No Point to Prove is a song that I did with the legendary, God rest his soul in peace, Peter Morgan of the group Morgan Heritage. They won the Grammy actually for reggae music in 2016. Gramps Morgan is a good friend of mine, Peter Morgan, Mojo Morgan, Jamari Morgan. I mean, they're some reggae royalty, and I had the honor and pleasure of touring Europe with them in 2015-16 on the Grammy-winning European Strictly Roots tour. And yeah, we went to Jamaica before that tour, and I shot that music video with Peter Morgan. God bless his soul and rest his soul in peace. And yeah, it was so much fun just recording with an icon like Peter Morgan, who was such an amazing vocalist and talent. And I learned so much from touring with the Modern Heritage crew. I mean, Peter and the whole band, they're so professional. And just the way of how they go about their performance really inspired me. And when I got back to Angola, I felt like I was even more polished in terms of my performance and just how I would go about putting together my show, etc. But yeah, it was a joy. Of course, that was like 2 to 3 years after I finished retired from playing international cricket. I was blessed enough to be in that environment from not only just one watching them come by my dad's place or whatever and perform, seeing artists do that, but being able to go out on the road and be able to perform night after night after night, understanding how you've got to take care of your body, take care of your mind, and just prepare yourself for every performance to give your best was something which I look back at it with great fondness and just yeah, just learning a lot of lessons from how they went about and doing what they did.
Now, how long does a music video like that take to film? And is it fun or is it kind of laborious after a bit? What's your take on like filming a music video?
I have fun doing my music videos. I mean, if you love the song and you love the vibe, I mean, you're gonna do it, and it's a part of the process of getting your music out there. So, I mean, I had fun doing it. I mean, so of course, sometimes if you're it can be a little strenuous if you're doing something for hours and getting up early, but I've been used to doing that. I mean, from sports and the good thing about a music video, if everything is in order, you can finish it in a couple of days. If you're gonna do it continuously, but and if not, you can split up the work if it's not something that you have to do it in a particular time frame. But yeah, I mean, I always have fun doing my music videos. But one of the harder parts is now just finding the time with my schedule to make sure get a music video done. So it's not that it's I don't enjoy doing it, but sometimes my schedule is so busy whether it be performing, traveling, touring, just to make sure get the music videos done. And I actually have two more music videos which I need to shoot very soon as well. So yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, it's always a joy
Now, do you guys? We got to get into some weed stuff because I mean, as my audience knows, I'm very pro weed. Now, when you guys are filming videos, do you guys hear a lot of weed getting passed around? What's your take on weed? If you don't want to talk about it because it's still illegal, that's fine. But like,
though.
I mean, we'd have to be we'd be silly if we didn't talk about reggae and weed. I mean, the two go hand in hand.
Right.
So, what's your are you a really big pothead? Are you casual use? What's your weed life like?
No, so I'm actually not a smoker. I've been around weed and smoking my entire life. My literally my dad. If you think you smoke a lot, my dad smokes. Would have you by 20 by at least by 20 times. My dad wakes up or something. But I think a lot of things because I'm on a natural high because I was brought up in that environment. I'm smelling it. I'm up like all day, every day. Yeah, so I grew up in that environment. So for some reason, I guess in sports, because you're not allowed to do that, you'll be banned and won't be able to play. I never really got in that I shouldn't say environment because I was always in that environment, but never got in the habit of doing it because just because I needed to play. I mean, I'm a little bit older now, so I mean, my decisions, whatever I do, I can make my own choices in that way. But I've never been somebody who just was smoking all the time just because on my career and just because I was just a lot just focused on other things. But I mean, I think it's about choice. People should be allowed to do what they want to do, and then the consequences of whatever and of that you deal with it. But I also really do think that at the end of the day, marijuana is something that can relax your mind and it can put you in a conscious state of mind. Whether you smoke it, drink it, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's just about creating an environment where you can relax. And I think a lot of things in life can relax us, whether it be some people use marijuana, some people use a walk on the beach, some people use water, some people use meditation. You know what I mean? So I think whatever it takes for us to get us in that centered position where we can kind of reflect, have peace, not be stressed out by the outside forces, which is
Mhm.
just there to keep our minds in a certain way where we're just always at haste and always in a rush. Yeah, I think herb definitely brings us in that place of peace at times once we use it, as Bob would say, don't abuse it.
Right? Because it's I mean, I don't it's been a while since I've really listened to I don't know if I've ever listened to reggae not on weed, but like the more weed you smoke, the better
Yeah,
it sounds. And that's not and that's weird to say because not all music's like that. You know, not all
that's true.
music is better because I mean when I was up in Wakefield. I don't know if you're from England, you've probably been around. It's in town of Yorkshire. I went up there,
Yeah,
saw my buddy Mick. He has a band called Skip Rat, and they were just jamming out. And it was just I was right off the plane, so I was probably delirious too. But we were just smoking, having oh god, it was fun. It was loud. It was so loud because we are in this tiny
right,
warehouse, and
right.
it was just really loud. But God, it was fun though. And
Yeah,
that makes me think of something like reggae is loud. Like it's one of the louder musics. I think. Do you
well,
like?
Jimmy. Mm.
Do you have hearing protection when you're on stage? I mean, because some of these when you're jamming, you could go hours. No, I mean, after 3 hours of hearing that same giant drum, I mean, you got to do something. What's going on with that, Omari? How's the hearing going now for you?
Good. I mean, well, I don't think my music is too loud. I mean, it kind of depends on the venue, right? I guess maybe in the past, we got something that's called engineers who turn it down. But yeah, my music, reggae music is very drum and bass based, I should say. So the drum and the bass is at the forefront of the music, and because of that, sometimes those low end frequencies can affect you. But we in the Caribbean, we love that. The drum and the bass kind of drives the music. African music, drum and the bass kind of is a vibe that keeps everything going. So maybe a lot of it is just because we grew up so accustomed to that song, we enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I enjoy listening to that drum in the reggae music. I mean, reggae music is a music that kind of is a spiritual music. Although the beat and the thing brings over a message and it kind of connects to the heart of people, and that's why you're able to feel it. It's that music which which the heart beats in that same kind of rhythm and tempo. And that's why no matter whether you're on a joint or when you're meditating and you take in the message of the music, you're allowed to hear the music, but the lyrics to go over that and really integrate into your soul. And I think that's what reggae music does. Sometimes it's not too fast, it's not too slow, but it's just at a tempo that grooves with you and kind of yeah sits into a soul. So
Yeah, you can
yeah,
connect more. Now, do you like connecting? I mean, like, do you like a smaller, I mean, not smaller, but like, the typical club, stay 500 people, whatever? Or do you like the bigger venues? Like, oh, here's, 18,000 seat arena kind of thing. Would you rather have that intimate connection of a room? I mean, or is it just kind of, whatever at that point? I mean, I would imagine after a while you're performing, you don't really care about the audience. You're just, jamming. Is that the case, or is there a preference on your end?
well, I mean, first I like to perform in any stage. I mean, once the people are into it and once I'm be able to express myself, I'm there. But I would definitely say that when it's a smaller crowd, you're able to connect on a personal level sometimes better, in the sense that you're closer to people. You can sometimes touch people, you know what I mean, and people feel that. And in a big venue, sometimes you have to make your movements a lot bigger just to be able to get over the point that you're trying to say. But in a smaller room, you can really bring it down, be a lot more quiet, and really get that message across. And you can play with the dynamics of the song to really get over what you're trying to say. But ultimately, um, reggae music, and for me, my music ultimately is it's very lyrics based. So the music will definitely be at the forefront, but what I'm saying is very important. And if you take the time to listen to what you say, what I'm saying, ultimately, I believe what I'm trying to get over to you will be gotten over.
Okay. Now you are touring the U.S. currently. Is there anything about the states? I mean, you've been here, when you were a kid and whatnot, but obviously you're a UK guy, not a US guy. Is there anything about the states that you like? Okay, I really really like this part of the world. A lot of people say, oh, they like how big it is, stuff like that. What is your take, Omari, on your favorite thing about the states that you don't necessarily get in the Caribbean or the UK?
I mean, I've been coming to the US one a long time. My brother lives in Houston, Texas. My mother went to university over here. My sister went to university. She lives in LA. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, and I've been doing tours in the US for the past 8, 9 years. So I've done
Okay.
quite a few stuff. And I had some fun doing it. I mean, I've got a lot of people who see me perform even when I'm in Anguilla, and I do a lot of shows for them when they come over. They come in to support me when I'm performing in the US, whether it's be New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Done South by Southwest. I've done stuff in Florida, Atlanta, in those places. I've done a lot of private events, so I've got a very strong connection with the U.S. In the sense that a lot of people that visit my island in Anguilla are tourists who visit from the U.S. So when I'm over here, there's a lot of people who really support my music, and I'm really thankful of that. So it's always a joy to come over. I've actually performed more in the US than I have in the UK. I've done some stuff in the UK, of course, but the US is so much closer to get to than the UK, right, from when you're traveling from the Caribbean. And as I said before, just to see the fact that a lot of my fan base are actually based, I should say, in different pockets of the US. So right now, actually just did my first kind of performance on my first visit to LA. Had a great time doing that and did a performance, and as well as a fashion show that I did in Silicon Valley, and met a few people who we really am like really excited about collaborating with in future, and doing some really cool stuff on that side. So I'm
Okay.
just I enjoy my time over here in the US. It's always a pleasure. It's hard for me to name one place, but once the people are good for me, I mean, once the people are good and they treat me kindly and with respect, I mean, I show that definitely back to them, and I've always had a good time. Never had any real issues with anyone over here. I mean, I know the world is different everywhere we go, but I'm blessed to be able to give out a positive vibe. So a lot of the people that I attract to me are people who kind of reciprocate and who kind of share the same vibe of what I stand for and what I believe in.
All right, we got some questions about your jewelry, specific your necklace. Could
Oh.
you talk? Could you talk about it?
So I actually got this necklace from a friend of mine who's from New Mexico. He's a friend of my dad. He's actually was actually my dad's kind of roadie tour manager. He's a world traveler, but he goes by the name of Johnny Dangerous. So he's a kind of character. But he kind of suits out all my dad and a lot of the people who come to my dad's place with turquoise. Now he gave this to me as a gift. I bought this from him, and I bought this from him as well. So I love turquoise. It's a kind of cool vibe, and it's kind of my energy too. Turquoise is kind of one of the colors which is part of the Anguilla flag as well. The original Anguilla flag, the water, it's symbolic of the water of Anguilla. So the turquoise, the water, and myself, we kind of go together.
That blue water, right? What is it about
You
that
got it.
blue water? I'm from Cleveland. We're a very cold people. You know, they got a lot of snow
Yeah.
up here, stuff like that. But man, I went to the Virgin Islands in 2021. It's been pretty much the same thing. We got to be real. It's all the
Absolutely.
the same
Yeah.
kind of islands. And
Yeah.
it's just you hit that water, you just want to just sit there all day. I don't want to do anything else but look at this water. It's so ridiculously clear. It's so amazing. So I feel you on the turquoise in the water. It's just I don't know what it is about looking at that. It's so calm and peaceful, especially if you got some weed in you. It really doubles it up. But my
Definitely.
goodness, if you're having a bad life, bad week, bad whatever, take a weekend and go to the Caribbean and look at some blue water and come back, and your whole outlook will change. Would you say
Oh
that's
yeah.
true? I mean, geez.
That's definitely true. I mean, literally, so I grew up in Anguilla too. My dad's beach bar is literally on the beach. And then the house that I grew up in with my mom and my dad was for a while was literally about 150 meters away from the beach. So I would be in the water, around the water every single day, whether I be playing cricket or just playing songs or just running on the beach to exercise. And yeah, so water and the turquoise water and blue skies and the sand, the white sand beaches and the energy of the island is just that. It's pure. I think that's what kind of the turquoise water symbolizes.
All right, we got some questions from the chat. Dave wants to know: have you ever met Joss Stone?
No, I have not. I know of the name, but I haven't met him before. I would love to. Is he? I think he's a musician, right? An artist.
Yeah, I do believe so. I'm not intimately familiar.
Yeah.
I've heard the name too, but I'm not the same with you. I'm never not dang. Do you go bowling? If so, what's your bowling average?
What is it? Oh, my bowling average, but I can't tell you my bowling average off the top of my head. But basically, in 10 test matches for the Caribbean team, I got 30 wickets, which is kind of cool. And my batting average was about, I think, 28, 29. So that's not too bad as an all-rounder.
All right. What is your opinion on ska and ska punk?
I mean, ska music was before reggae music. Check, 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 check. I'm not so familiar with ska punk, but I mean, as I said before, I love music, man. And if it's from the heart and if people do it with a genuine spirit, I'm gonna love it. But I gotta check. I'll YouTube ska punk when I get off this call and go on YouTube. But I can imagine what it is. I would imagine it's a little bit more grungy, and I would imagine.
We got a question that says, "What is your advice on what to do after a tour?"
Advice after a tour: get some rest. Get some rest. Get your footage that you got from the tour. Make sure you create some good content. Communicate with your fans, and make sure you get it. Put it all together to make sure to make the next tour better.
And Lady C wants to know: are you doing any shows in Texas on this tour?
I literally just came from Texas. My brother lives in Houston, Texas. And yeah, so I didn't do any shows. I was just there for 3 days. I was supposed to do a radio show and interview, but I came into Virginia a little bit early because I had rehearsals. I have rehearsal today, literally in a little bit. But yeah, had some fun in Houston with my brother.
All right, now when was the last time you went to the Waffle House?
Well, I've never had food from the Waffle House. Never. I heard about the Waffle House, but I'm pescatarian. And I try to eat my diet is Rasta, my diet is more seafood and whole organic kind of thing.
Yeah, so I guess if you do that, you'd probably have to just get pancakes. Well, the waffles will still be good. I mean, the waffles, The beauty of it, Omari, is the waffles like this big and it's only like $3 or some shit. So cheap.
Right, yeah, I heard that. I mean, I'll tell you what I usually do. I usually skip breakfast. So my routine is that I don't eat. My first meal comes at about today. I made an exception because I have a rehearsal in a second. But my first meal usually comes at like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I'll usually eat some eggs, some tuna fish, some salad, some beets. Yeah, just kind of salad and a bit of protein and avocado. Maybe have a little bit of fruit after that, and then I'll probably eat another meal a little bit later on in the evening around 7, 8 o'clock. But I usually eat 2 meals a day. So right now I've been doing that for the past 2.5 years, and I spend a lot of time in the gym. So health and fitness and just trying to stay healthy is in terms of yeah working out is a big part of what I do too.
Okay. Do you what's touring? What's the most fun for you? Like for me, I don't really tour,
Yeah,
but I travel a lot. And the most
yeah,
fun for me is just meeting the new people, different cultures.
absolutely,
It's just so
absolutely.
great. And then the thing I would say that sucks the most about that is just, little stuff that you're used to getting, like, oh, I want a sandwich. Oh, no, you
Yeah,
can't get a sandwich. You got to go down to the hotel bar and that's $30. Yeah, I just want a, simple sandwich, bro. And that, so
yeah.
would you say that's kind of the same for you? What is something about touring you really like?
What I really like is performing. One, I love meeting people, performing, and just being able to express myself to an audience that's receptive and that's excited to see me. You know what I mean? That's literally the best part about touring for me. Of course, meeting people is an amazing thing. You get to meet people who get over who said to you that they enjoy music, that your music touched their lives in a special way, and you get to see that the work that you put in is to be received by other people. And for me, that's an amazing thing. When you create something in the solace of your home or in the studio with other musicians, and then you see that being received by people and they're singing along to that, it's a beautiful thing. And I've always enjoyed the process of creating music, but performing music out is definitely the pinnacle for me.
Okay, now, are you still, how many more dates you got in the US tour?
Literally, I perform tomorrow here in Virginia, at Virginia Beach at the Cavalier. So make sure you come out to that. And then I go to the UK on Monday. So
Okay.
yeah, one Monday, and then I go to the UK for 3 days and some marketing and interviews and promotions and that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah. So UK to Birmingham on the 30th, it says.
Yeah,
Now, how long does it take you to get adjusted to the time change? Now, me, I just go right off the plane and continue the day as it would be normal. Because if not, if you fall asleep, dude, you're gonna, your whole week is gonna be messed up because you're gonna be getting up like 2 in the morning or something. So, how do you? I mean, do you do the same thing? Just plow through when you land, or how? What's your post time change routine when you travel from the Europe to the
that's
state?
that's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I try to do. Stay up and get my body on that clock. But I mean, but sometimes your body you still don't fully adjust until a day or two. Because I mean, I came from California about 3 or 4 days ago, and I still haven't adjusted from that. Literally, it was yeah. Last night I got sleep at about 2:30, just because yeah. Sometimes you just still got energy. You still got energy up, but then in the morning when you have to wake up at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 7 o'clock, then you feel it. But
It reminds me when I went and saw Mick. We go right off the plane. And we go right to the bay because I was, we're trying to smoke, and we go to the warehouse there in Wakefield, and we're jamming. And it must have been Mick. Mick can remember more than I can because I was tired and high. But I literally fell asleep because we went to like 2 in the morning UK time, and this is whatever my time back in the States. And I was
right,
literally I fell asleep in there with the reggae music playing. That's how much weed I smoked. How tired I was.
no,
How hard we partied. Man, it was a great time, brother. But I got some silly questions and we'll get out of here.
no problem.
We ask everybody this: Beatles or Queen? Who would you pick out of those two bands?
Oh my gosh, you asked me some hard questions now. Beatles are Queen. It's both. I'll have to take a drink to that. I can tell you Beatles because I like Beatles because when I was playing cricket, I would listen to the Beatles, and this is now after I was kind of an adult, but just getting back in tune to the older music. But the songwriting, and the whole song construction of what the Beatles did was amazing. And Queen, of course, Brian May, the guitarist, is so amazing, and Freddie Mercury's voice is so powerful and so impactful, how he sings and how he delivers his message. So I mean, I can't choose any of them, but just know that I'm a big fan of both of them. Literally, that's not even a
Good
joke.
answer. Like JV said, good answer. Are you a Premier League fan? If so, who's your Premier League team?
So I used to watch a lot of Premier League growing up in England, back especially in the like early 2000s. I was an Arsenal fan. I like Thierry Henry, and of course the Manchester United is everybody loves them. I like Cristiano Ronaldo, but I would have to say I was like a Thierry Henry, Arsenal, Arsene Wenger, Barkham, the whole the whole Thierry Henry vibe during the early 2000s of Arsenal. I love that.
Okay. Cool. And when was the last time you remember using a payphone?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember the last time I was using. The last time I can remember, maybe properly remember, is I was in Navis back in the early 2000s, and it was late in the night. I was calling home because I was on tour for cricket, and I was talking to somebody, and somebody was just driving up in the car, and they were looking kind of funny, looking at me. So I was like talking to somebody on the phone, was like, "Where's that person checking me out?" But it was just somebody just wanted to say hi or something like that. But Nevis, early 2000s.
Isn't it funny though how much they're totally obsolete? Like, there's no person in the world who doesn't have a phone now. It's if hey, I need to use your phone. They're like, sure, and that's literally everybody. It's great.
Literally.
All right, and like I said, man, we had a fun time up here. I'm enjoying reconnecting with this reggae. I really do. And good luck out there, Manny. Anything else besides the tour you want to shout out, promote before you get out of here? And how do people get hold of you?
Yeah, just make sure you check me out on social media. My name on Instagram is Omari Banks Music, OMARIBANKS Music, MUSIC, and Facebook Omari Banks. And what else? And my webpage is www.omaribanks.com. Make sure you check me out on YouTube, follow my page, like my page, subscribe. Make sure if you're in the UK, make sure you come out to my shows. The first one is in Birmingham, then I have Bristol, and then London. But just look out for my new project. I'm probably gonna have a new project that's gonna be coming out next year. We haven't decided the date as yet, but make sure you follow me, stay up to date, and I really love and appreciate you guys. You know what I mean? So maximum love, maximum respect, my brother. Thank you, my brother.
All right, real quick before we go, do you have a favorite whiskey?
Don't have a favorite whiskey, but maybe some kind of is Black Label whiskey.
I think so. I think there's a Jameson Black Label. I think I'm not a whiskey guy, so I don't know. I'll
yeah.
All right, and real quick, favorite guitar you own?
Oh, favorite. Ooh, I've got a few. I've got a few of those. But right now I'm using my PRS guitars. I've got two PRS on tour, but I'm on tour with me. As well as I've got a D'Angelico guitar. Big up to the company D'Angelico, who also has been a sponsor of mine in the past. So I love their guitars, and acoustic. I'm actually using a company, an Irish company called Emerald, who makes carbon fiber guitars, and they're really cool, really cool. But of course, I'm a big fan of the traditional stuff. I've got Fenders and Gibson guitars, which I've used over the years, and I love them all. So I'm a guitar freak. So that question is like a hard question to ask me. But right now, I'm using some PRS guitars on the road.
Outstanding, my friend. Looks like you got a couple subs on YouTube, and I'd like to thank you for coming out, Omari. Appreciate it. I know you're busy running around. Have fun with the rest of your time here in Virginia in the States, and we'll talk to you later. And if you're going out to the UK, come see him in the UK. We'll see you guys later.
My brother, maximum respect.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll see you.